How good are the Vancouver Canucks really? Because when it comes to this team, yes, they have been winning games, and I do see it pop up in my comments once in a while. Dude, Lego, how can you be so negative? They're winning. Like, is that not what everybody wants? Is that not the ultimate goal, to see your favorite hockey team win? And yes, that is the goal in many people's eyes, but in other people's eyes, it's not necessarily about winning, it's the way that they're able to win. I said in yesterday's post-game video about Vancouver San Jose that the Canucks were not really all too great. You saw the way they cracked down at the end, you saw the way their special teams played, you saw the way San Jose was able to just take control after the first period. Vancouver did not play a good game, and it was one that you could honestly say they kind of deserve to lose. It's just JT Miller is a boss, and he was like, okay, no, we're gonna end things here. And even though the Vancouver Canucks have had a few wins here under Bruce Boudreau, where it's like, okay, they really showed up in the last few minutes, or they showed up at the beginning, or they showed up for one period and they went out there, scored a few goals, and Thatcher Demko stole the show. It was Jim Rutherford yesterday who said on Sportsnet 650 that yes, this Vancouver Canucks team gets bailed out by Demko. Like, there's no denying that, and I think anybody who has been watching just a fragment of Vancouver Canucks hockey over the past few years knows that the goaltending has been one of the best strengths this team has had. From Markstrom to Demko to Spencer Martin, etc., we know this team can win games strictly from the goaltending alone. And when it really comes down to how good the Vancouver Canucks are as a full-blown team, that goaltending conversation kind of taints things in a way that I think is sort of misleading. So what we're going to be doing is going over Jeff Patterson, because what he did was he made himself a tweet. Because the Vancouver Canucks are now at 50 games played. Travis Green played games 1 to 25, or not played, he coached games 1 to 25. Bruce Boudreau coached games number 26 over to 50. And what Patterson did was he accumulated all the numbers, all the points, and all the team points as well. So take a look at this. What he has is this little chart. Of course, Green 1 to 25, Boudreau 26 to 50. The record of the Vancouver Canucks in 25 games played. Travis Green 8, 15, and 2, good enough for 18 points in 25 games. That is below 500 by a significant margin. Bruce Boudreau, on the other hand, has a record of 15, 6, and 4 for the Vancouver Canucks. And yeah, I mean, look, that's a really good number. Like, 34 points, it's on pace for like 100 and something points over the span of 82 games, but as we're going to be talking about a little bit more, that might be a little bit misleading here. Just a touch. Goals for, the Vancouver Canucks have 10 more goals in 25 games under Boudreau, and they've let in, 22 fewer goals against, which is a really good number as well. They're a positive when it comes to their goal differential now, which is great. There's been a significant improvement on the power play under Bruce Boudreau, 21.1% versus Travis Green 17.4%, and the PK has improved by about 10% as well, 75.8% versus Travis Green and the 64.6% metric, which was one of the worst the NHL has ever seen ever. The leading scorer for the Vancouver Canucks in 25 games played is yet again JT Miller, this time with 27 points in 25 games versus the 23 points in 25 games he had under Travis Green. You also had the goal leaders for the team. Miller led the team in goals under Green with 8. Boudreau has a different goal leader. It is Besser with 11. Points from defensemen is about the same, which isn't really a good thing, because the Canucks got 43 points under Travis Green from their blue line, 45 points under Boudreau from their blue line. Sure, I mean, 45 points in 25 games played isn't a terrible number, but like, that number is being divided up into 6 players, so yeah, it's not really, too spectacular. This is where things get really great, though. Elias Pettersson has 5 more points in the games under Boudreau than he did under Travis Green, and he's got 5 more goals as well. Now, I get it. You might say, okay, 5 points, is that really that big of a difference? But, like, the way he plays and the way he moves across the ice, the way he is confidently starting to deke around guys, EP40 is a much different player now under Boudreau than he was under Travis Green. However, the shots might go ahead and paint a different picture, because he's got 9 goals in the 25-game sample under Boudreau. He's got only 38 shots. Like, do the math on this. 9 divided by 38. Petey has a 23% shooting percentage, whereas under Travis Green he had 61 shots. For Divvy 61, Pettersson was shooting at 6% under Green. He's shooting at 20%-ish under Boudreau. So, even though he's getting less shots, he's making them count. Take a look at the rest of the lineup over here. Garland has actually halved his point production under Boudreau, which I honestly, like, that kind of boggles my mind how that's even possible, but either way, that's part of the thing that he was talking about when he said he's disappointed in himself recently. Besser has improved significantly. Miller is improving, but he's about the same. Horvat is exactly the same. Hughes is just a little bit worse when it comes to overall point production, but the remaining two metrics over here are a lot better for the Vancouver Canucks too. Their 5-on-5 save percentage has improved to 94% under Boudreau, and they have scored first double the amount of times that they scored first under Travis Green. Now, you can see this sample size and be like, wow, Boudreau really did improve the Canucks. Look at how good they are. Look at how fantastic this team really is. And some people went out there and said, yeah, Bruce Boudreau is making this team so good. Take a look at this. This is something that got a lot of people up in arms on Twitter. Through 25 games under Boudreau, the Canucks are on a 111.5 point pace, a total that will be second highest in franchise history. I know people like Thomas Drance will try to convince you and say this isn't a playoff team, that the roster is poorly constructed, and to them I say middle finger. That is a point that I really do think is dangerous to think about. Because Grady here, he's a former TSN guy, he works for Sekeres and Price right now, he tweeted about this tweet from Chris, and he pretty much debunked it. Unsustainable. Take the Bruce bump out of the equation, and they're 7-6-3 in their last 16, so take that initial winning streak out. What are the teams they're chasing doing? Winning. Twist the math all you want, but they have an 89% chance to miss the playoffs, but go off about how this is a playoff team. In the mix? Sure. Now, it kind of sparks up a conversation as to where you lie and how you see this team, because the Vancouver Canucks, on paper, do have a crazy good record under Boudreau, but it was heavily inflated by that initial winning streak. The team recently is not on that winning streak, and they've started losing a lot more games that they have been winning. Am I using this video as an opportunity to say how bad Bruce Boudreau is? No, of course not. But what is the message that I've been preaching this entire time, and all the post-game videos, all the videos about how the team loses and everything? This team is just not good enough. Benning built a roster that was supposed to be his all-in, last chance to make the playoffs and do something roster, and this is the roster he constructed. They're not good enough. They've got good forwards, they've got great players, and when they all play to the best of their abilities, it makes for some magical moments, but over 82 games, do you really see a decor that has Travis Hamonic, Tucker Poolman, Tyler Myers, and Kyle Burrows as a top-of-the-line contender status decor? Do you see a decor that looks like that, helping this team to get 110 points on a year? No. That's not the blue line of a team that's able to get 110 plus points. Sure, when it comes to forwards, you could say the top-of-the-line guys. When Miller is on his game, when Pettersson is on his game, when Besser is on his game, these guys can go out there and they can win you games single-handedly. Yes, they can. Thatcher Demko can also win you games single-handedly. Yes, he can. But the rest of this lineup, the bottom six depth, the entire decor outside of Quinn Hughes, and I guess you could say OEL, the assets that Jim Benning went out there and sacrificed to get this team together. It was the Tyler Toffoli, Tyler Madden thing. It was the draft picks and the expiring contracts of Eriksson, Beagle, Roussel. This was an all-in kind of year. And they're just not good enough. They had the Travis Green disaster stint. First 25 games, it looked terrible. And then they had the Boudreau run. Great. Winning all these games in a row. But now they've come back down to earth. And they've equalized into a team that is a lot more down to earth than they were when they were winning all those games when Boudreau started out. I don't want to make it seem like Boudreau is a bad coach, but that initial winning streak that they went on definitely made a lot of people think a little bit differently about this team. Oh, they can win 7 games in a row. Therefore, they're a playoff team. In fact, Thomas Drance has been preaching this on The Athletic, on TV, on radio, like the past few weeks, that this team just really isn't a good one, and a lot of people who are a lot more optimistic about this team than not are really hating him for that. Oh, you know, like, screw you, like, this team is winning games, they've got a 111-point pace, but, like, Come on, you can't watch yesterday's game against San Jose and say that that team in the white jerseys is a 111-point pace team. Here's what you should do. Watch a Tampa Bay Lightning game. Watch a Colorado Avalanche game. Watch a Florida Panthers or a Carolina Hurricanes game. Watch any of those teams and say, are these teams the same level of good as the Vancouver Canucks? Because in my opinion, they're not. They're a lot better than the Vancouver Canucks, and these are the teams that are on the point production pace that the Vancouver Canucks under Boudreau currently are, which is inflated by that Bruce Boudreau just wild run at the beginning. So, talk to me in the comments, what do you think about this entire video? Am I being too harsh on my favorite team? Am I wrong about what I'm saying over here? Why or why not? I hope you enjoyed this video. Rosén, and bye.